guys, it's Jade from Boho Bookworm. It has been a long time since I've done a reading wrap up, but I thought I owed it to May to do one because I had such a good reading month. I owe that all to Audible. My Goodreads target for the year is 60 books. In May, I managed to get halfway there. I've read 30 books this year so far. I want to make my wrap-ups unique and do something that gives my reviews something that's very personal and me, but you know, if I think about a rating system that's Boho Bookworm Jade, the first thing that springs to mind is incorporating wine into the videos, which obviously I can't do all the time because I'm not going to start drinking at 7 o'clock in the morning, that's normally the time I can film. But you know, sometimes that would be nice to incorporate wine into it. But so I was thinking about this, and if I say, okay, I give a book 5 stars, does that mean I have to have 5 sips of wine? Because by the end of the video, if it's a wrap-up video and I've read like 5 5-star books, I'll be absolutely trolleyed. So this is my dilemma. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments down below. I want to do something different that makes this channel unique to Boho Bookworm and to me, but I'm still trying to figure that side out of it. So I hope that just talking about the books and giving you their Goodreads star rating is good enough for you for now. I'm going to start out this video by showing you the only book that I have a physical copy of. All of the books I'm going to talk about I listened to on Audible, and I only have a physical copy of one, and that is Little Deaths by Emma Flint. This book is inspired by the true New York crime case of Alice Crimmins in 1965. It's about a promiscuous woman who finds her 2 children missing from their beds late one night. She's in the middle of this really nasty custody battle, so the police instantly accuse her of having something to do with their disappearances. This book was such a page turner. I literally read it in one sitting. My interest never waned. It was just so engrossing. Writing is exemplary. The author just plays with your senses in this really subtle and poetic way. She manipulates you the entire way through this book in this fascinating tug of war between whether you love or hate the main character. The main character, this woman, she's got all those typical things, all these typical character traits that we see so often in books these days. She's unlikable, she's unreliable, but there's something so unique about this book. It was done in a very elegant way. I loved the multiple points of views in this book. We get the distressed mother's side, and we also get sides from this reporter that's really desperately thirsty for a story. Every character in this book was so deceptive and intriguing, and I loved it. Absolutely adored this book, and I gave it a 5-star review on Goodreads. The next book I'm going to talk about is Love with a Chance of Drowning by Torre. She is an Australian author from Melbourne, and I recently visited Melbourne for my birthday. What a stunning part of Australia. It's so European. It's just filled with all these beautiful little cobbled pathways. It was really cold and it's full of these old buildings. It just reminded me of London. It's stunning. I loved it. Anyway, Torre and I were actually going to meet up, but unfortunately it was her birthday at the very same time that I was going there for my birthday, and she went traveling for her birthday. So we missed each other, but I do hope that I'll catch up with her in the future. Her book is a romantic travel memoir. It's her memoir, and it's just the perfect escapism. It leaves you really hungry for adventure and desperate to see everything that the world has to offer. This book really resonates with me because it's about a woman who has this plan. She's going to go and work away from Australia for a year, and then she's going to return home. And that's very much like me. I wanted to go to Bali for a year, write my book, and then return to South Africa and figure out what the hell I was going to do with my life. And then suddenly this woman met this Argentinian man called Ivan, and I met the Australian Mark, and they changed everything. It's a really romantic story about them sailing across the world together. She's afraid of the ocean, so it's her facing her fears. It's like a soul-searching journey. It's filled with these really funny stories of her experiences along their trip. It was just such an enjoyable, feel-good, entertaining, uplifting read. It's also so full of humor, and it's a very different book to what I'm used to, so I was very surprised. I gave it a 4-star review, and I loved it. The next book is also one that is very far out of my comfort zone when it comes to the genre I enjoy, and that's History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. This is So strange for me that I read so many books in a genre that I'm not used to and that I don't really enjoy. That said, I'm so happy and relieved that I enjoyed this one. It's about a boy called Griffin who falls in love with his best friend, another boy called Theo. They come out to each other and to their families, and it's just really heartwarming how accepting the parents are of their relationship. I found that a really lovely touch. So they've started this relationship, and then unfortunately Theo has to move away. So Griffin decides to end things so that he's not holding Theo back. But what he didn't expect was for Theo to move on so soon. So while Theo's busy exploring this new relationship with this new guy, his life comes to a tragic ending far too soon. The book goes back and forth between past and present, so we've got the present day where Griffin is trying to come to terms with Theo's death, and he's also facing Theo's new boyfriend for the first time, and they start their own relationship, but he didn't really want to meet this boyfriend. He was very reluctant to do it, but it really helped him, I guess. And then we also have the past, and it gives you the history of when Griffin and Theo were together, and he's just remembering all these memories with him. It's the first LGTB book I've read. To be honest, the writing reminds me a lot of John Green. I gave this book 4 stars, and I think the only reason it lacked one for me is because I had this expectation that it was going to be really emotionally charged, and I think that it wasn't quite as sad as I had expected it to be. The next book that I finished was The Chalk Man by C.J Tudor, and guys, I'm sorry, I love thrillers and I'm getting into the horror genre, but honestly, this book was just a cheap knockoff of a Stephen King novel. It's about this young boy called Eddie who meets this really strange man after a particular incident. This man shows Eddie a really fun way to leave secret messages for his friends by drawing chalkmen. But then one day these chalkmen lead him and his friends to this body. Then the book goes to 30 years later. Eddie's older and he thinks that he's escaped his past, until one day he gets an envelope through his letterbox, and inside is a piece of chalk and a drawing of a chalkman. Honestly, I was so close to DNFing this book. I just felt so detached from the story the entire way through. I was just really disappointed because this is a book that I'd honestly been really anticipating for a 2018 release. I was so excited to read it. I'm starting to think that maybe I just don't like books about children, especially where they're in horror, I think. I'm not sure yet. I don't know, this book was not for me, and I gave it a 1-star review because I had to be able to review it on Goodreads. The last book that I'm going to be speaking about today is The House Swap by Rebecca Fleet. This is a book about a couple with a crumbling marriage, so they decide to kind of mix things up a bit by arranging this house swap with a stranger online. Kind of like The Holiday with Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz, which is one of my favorite movies to watch around Christmas time. As this couple moves into this new house, the wife's memory starts to get triggered with memories from her past, and it's a past that she's been desperately trying to forget. She kind of brushes it off at first, but then she starts to realize it's just too much of a coincidence, the things that are happening and that she's remembering because of this house. And that makes her start to wonder if the person who owns this house is somehow connected to her. You really need to be careful of who you let into your house. This book honestly has so much going for it. It's got everything that I love in a book. It's got affairs, it's got addiction, it's got tension, it's got mystery, and it really does engross you with its fantastic writing style. It is really fun and it does keep you guessing, but it just didn't have that wow factor for me. I don't think that it was unique. I didn't find this big, huge, shocking twist that I love in books. To be honest, I just found it kind of forgettable. It was tantalizingly slow-paced. It's definitely a character-driven novel, so if you like those, then maybe this book is more for you than it is for me. I think I prefer more story-driven novels, plot-driven. All I'm saying about this book is that it was good, but it wasn't great. So they're the 5 books in part 1 of my wrap-up. I will be doing a second one in a few days' time. It's not yet the end of May, so I still have some time to hopefully get through a few more books to be able to talk to you about in my next video. So let me know what you've been reading, what your favourite read of May was. I love hearing from you, and once again, thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment. Talk to you soon, and bye!